Okay, so yesterday I alluded to the fact that there was a little wrinkle in the idea of observations being your senses. As we go through this lesson, I think it'll be easier to understand what I meant about that. So if you're keeping notes in your science notebook like you're supposed to, I would draw a line under yesterday's notes and put a new title. So today notes are going to be called Observations. And you could, if yours yesterday was observations, you could say observations 2 or whatever. And then a lot of times I think it's really smart to put the date that the notes were taken. Just kind of helps you stay organized. Just a suggestion. All right, observations. Observations. There are two kinds of observations that we use in the scientific method and in science inquiry. They are qualitative and quantitative. Now, I know I'm enunciating these words in kind of a weird way, kind of an annoying way, but I'm trying to make sure you see the difference between the two words because that's the key. If you don't see the differences, they almost look like the same word, and I think 7th graders a lot of times get confused because they are so close in nature. So I would pause right here and put into your notes that there are two kinds of observations, qualitative and quantitative. All right, so the first one that we're going to talk about is qualitative. Qualitative. And that should have kind of a familiar sound to you in that the root word of that comes from quality, quale or quality. And you know, unfortunately for you guys, I think girls have a little leg up on this science idea. And that's because we love to shop. And so when we go shopping, we are looking at the qualities of our clothes that we're going to buy. We use our eyes to look at how they're cut, how they look when they're on. We even use our ears, like, do they make a weird noise when I walk? We use our touch to, oh, this is a soft fabric. Ooh, this is scratchy. I'd never wear this. And then even our smell with the perfumes and everything. So I feel like maybe we have a leg up, but maybe not. Maybe you guys do this just as much. Well, when you're looking at qualities, you're looking at using your senses. And that's going to be the smell, touch, sight, taste, and hearing. Okay? Remember I told you we don't use taste very often in science because it could be fatal or it could just be not good for you or just plain gross. Anyway, so pause the video right now and get these things written in your notes under qualitative. Right now, you're probably thinking, wait a second. You just said there's a wrinkle to the senses. This sounds exactly like what you talked about yesterday. It is, except for remember there's another word, and this is where we're going to veer off a little bit. So qualitative is your senses, whereas quantitative, quanti should sound a lot like quantity, and quantity is that root word which means amount. Anytime you're ordering something, you get on the internet and you're going to order something off of Amazon, they want to know quantity. How many do you want? The number. And quantity is simply that. These are going to be your number mathematical observations. Okay? So yeah, you're using your sight to record these, but they're not sense-based observations. These are number-based observations. So these are your measurements, your numbers and readings. Well, these could be in degrees, inches, pounds, grams, liters. You could simply count the amount, like there are 15 lockers. Okay, so quantitative are your number type observations. Observations, we have to get this down. This is so important for you to write in your notes. Observations are never opinions. Remember that I told you observations are 100% fact. It's got to be something that you cannot argue about. So if it's something that's your opinion, that can be argued all day long. So you have to stay away from words like fat, pretty, happy, because that's subjective. I'm a pretty tall person by most people's standards. I'm, almost 5'10". and you would say, whoa, my teacher's tall, but that's your opinion. Because, Akeem Olajuwon or Scottie Pippen would say, dude, you're a shrimp. So that's really your perception or your opinion. Now, if you used it as a comparison, like my teacher is taller than all the rest of the students, that would work because that's not opinion. That's a fact that we could prove. But other than that, we really cannot use these descriptive words because they are, in fact, opinions. So just to boil it down to the very basics, you want to always remember that observations are facts, provable, and that should say indisputable, not undisputable. Sorry about that. I'll have to change that. Indisputable. That's my one mistake for the year. So please pause the video right now and add this into your science notes. After you do that, you're ready to do the observation lab where you're going to go and find qualitative and quantitative observations. Okay, about that lab. Notice at the top that it says that you can only use one color observation. That's far too easy, my friend, to just put a bunch of, I see a red shoe, brown locker, green window covering. So you get to use a color one time. Then all the rest of them have to be more creative than that. Use all of those other senses like textures, how things feel, shiny, metallic, even the temperature, like it feels cold, it feels rough, it feels hot, it feels slick. So that's what you're going to use for the rest of those observations, those qualitative. And then remember that your quantitative, they have to be 10 quantitative or number or mathematical observations.